It's not ideal for mating flush.
Right, yeah. See, that's not ideal.
Which means it's not ideal for the tungsten application. This is not ideal, this is not ideal, but it's not ideal.
I'm going to stir it around with my finger, which is just, you know, probably not ideal, really.
Insulated drivers, they're not ideal in all circumstances. They were not ideal, but they were okay. Not ideal, but it was just a sort of novelty at the time. They've just basically just smooshed it on and put a drop of hot milk glue at the end there. It's not ideal. If you did this in daylight, it would potentially start making it react immediately, this stuff. It's not ideal. Ooh, shiny, which is not ideal when you're recording things you can see everything in the vicinity of it. That's okay. At least one of them is not ideal. That is acting as basically a radiator. It's not ideal. Not far off 5, it's not ideal. Not ideal for true aficionados, but the cable has to go to these 2 solder connections here, which is actually not ideal. It's not ideal. It might just be the shape of the object I was printing was just not ideal. It's not very good. It's very chewy. It's not ideal for stripping. It's also not ideal location for soldering with the light all coming from that side. Not an ideal situation. It's not ideal because it's a sort of stainless type alloy. Maybe not ideal for the blue one, it's going to be quite dull. It's not ideal for the LED, but it's what they do. So it's not ideal. So not ideal. So, not ideal, which is not ideal for testing. Not ideal for modern LED lamps. It's not ideal, but, you know, most of them will recover. It's still not ideal. It's not ideal jamming randomly sized. And while that's not ideal for these, it's not ideal to absolutely leave them hammered with charge current all the time. It's not ideal. That's not ideal. Kind of proves a point, but you know what? It's not ideal. Technically speaking, that's not ideal for putting into a crimping tool. Perhaps not ideal as a cup heater. It's not ideal that you'd have to do that. Not ideal for everything, but as not even great as a lubricant. Just leave a big skid mark of flux, so that's not ideal. You're tipping off with a naked flame, so it's maybe not ideal. It could result in a bit of a